Carl Sandiego, a U.S. citizen, is employed by General Motors Corporation, a U.S. corporation. On April 1, 2019, GM relocated Carl to its Brazilian operations for the remainder of 2019. Carl was paid a salary of $127,000 and was employed on a 5-day-week basis. As part of her compensation package for moving to Brazil, Carl also received a housing allowance of $26,750. Carl's salary was earned ratably over the 12 months. During 2019, Carl worked 260 days, 195 of which were in Brazil and 65 in Michigan. How will the $26,750 get treated for tax purposes? The housing allowance of $26,750 that Carl received as part of his compensation package for moving to Brazil will be subject to taxation. Under U.S. tax law, all compensation paid to an employee by an employer is considered taxable income, regardless of where the employee is located or where the services are performed. Therefore, the housing allowance received by Carl will be considered taxable income and included in his gross income for tax purposes. However, Carl may exclude a portion of the housing allowance from his taxable income if he meets certain requirements under the tax law. Specifically, if Carl can show that the housing allowance was provided to him as reimbursement for qualified housing expenses that he incurred while living in Brazil, then he may be able to exclude the reimbursement amount from his gross income. To qualify for the exclusion, Carl must meet certain tests under the tax law, including the bona fide residence test or the physical presence test. The bona fide residence test requires Carl to be a bona fide resident of a foreign country for an uninterrupted period that includes an entire tax year. The physical presence test requires Carl to be physically present in a foreign country for at least 330 full days during a 12-month period. If Carl meets one of these tests, he may be able to exclude a portion of the housing allowance from his gross income. The excluded amount will be limited to the lesser of the actual housing expenses he incurred in Brazil, or a specified amount set by the IRS for the tax year. In summary, the housing allowance of $26,750 that Carl received as part of his compensation package for moving to Brazil will be subject to taxation, unless he can meet certain requirements under the tax law to exclude a portion of it from his gross income.